From Homestead, Miami Speedway in beautiful South Florida, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is ready to let her rip in the Sunshine State. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the most exciting night of the iRacing week. While the Philadelphia Phillies and Houston Astros get ready to face off in the World Series, Mike Wright looks to continue his Xfinity Series dominance against Eugenio Alonso, the Allen brothers, Jeff Carson, Chris Claude, Brandon Minto, John Bawalda, and Aaron Mack. These drivers in the round of 8 are vying for a coveted spot in the championship 4 at Phoenix in just 2 weeks. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag on the Independence Racing Network. And folks, it has been what many would say to be a long season, and this league has made some big changes throughout the season, in rules and drivers themselves. And I got to be honest, folks, every week it gets more and more exciting. And, quite frankly, I can't get enough of this league. These drivers, week in and week out, work their tails off. And, we see guys like Matt White who have come about in the 48 car from Stewartville, Minnesota. And, I'm not saying he's come out of nowhere, but he definitely has not run the full season this year in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And you know what? He's still up there competing week after week after week with, the likes of Mike Wright and the rest of the playoff drivers. So right now we get a look here at Matt White, who has posted a 33.5 on his first lap. As he comes across the start-finish line, we see him decide to go right up to the pole position at 32.96. R.P. Allen wrapping up his second lap on his qualifying effort here in the 03 Yahoo Toyota Supra. And as he crosses the start-finish line, RP just barely edges out Mike Wright as they have gone basically the same time at 32.96. Chris Claude, your Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner, bringing it down pit road after he posted a 33.31. I'm sure we're going to see some other speeds come in here as Chris, Zach Osborne, Josh Coppernoll, Finn Robinson finishing up his second lap tonight, defending two-time world champion racing driver from Shropshire, driving the number 26 tonight as he comes back down the front stretch to wrap up his flyer. He goes 6th fastest, but there are some big names that have yet to come out on track tonight yet, and that would be the likes of Chad Sanner, Bennett Allen, John Bawalda, Eugenio Alonso, Brandon Minto, and of course your points leader, Mike Wright, as Tony Burt here in the number 4, rubs the wall, but he's already recorded both of his qualifying laps. He goes 11th fastest so far. Matthew Helm bringing it back down pit road, the Dayton, Ohio native, with what a fantastic profile picture that would be here for his driver information card. Great forehead on Matthew Helm. Zach Vaughn in the number 91 from the 1110 Mods camp wraps up his qualifying effort in 14th. So still waiting for a couple of big names. Ricky Carmichael going 12th fastest. I had stopped, during my grid walk early on in this race and or early on in the evening. And quite frankly, there are a lot of drivers that are not happy with Homestead. And it just seems to be one of those tracks where either you love it or you hate it. There's nobody really in the middle. And believe me, the guys that hate these tracks, they're the ones that go out there and they put the practice and they put the time in. These drivers that are out here that say, oh, I hate this track, you best believe that they're out here practicing harder than the people that love the track. If you love a track, you probably go and you might put 40, 50, 60 laps on under practice conditions, and you think, okay, I got it because I know this track really well. But when you're somebody who doesn't like a track, who doesn't know it too well, or who just isn't comfortable, you might be out there running 75, 85, 150, practice laps to make sure that you at least can compete against those guys that usually like it here. So it makes for an interesting salad bowl, of drivers and talent, especially here in the Xfinity Series. And, let's take a look at the Xfinity Series point standings. Bear with me here, folks. There we are. Now we can get that beautiful bean footage up here. Some big movers over the last week or so here as we look at the championship standings, this round of 8 that we have going on right now. As that is not updated, I'm not sure why that's wrong. But let's take a look at the round of 8 as we clear this out of the way. Oddly enough, go figure. I guess tonight it's the night of Gremlins. Last night in the ISNF Cup Series here at Homestead, we had all kinds of gremlins that were causing all kinds of broadcast problems. But Mike Wright still sits atop the pile. He is being trailed by Eugenio Alonso by 101 points. So a big difference between Eugenio and Mike Wright. And Mike already has his win in, or I'm sorry, Eugenio already has his win in for the round of 8. 2 more opportunities in the round of 8 to win and get in to the championship for many of these drivers. As we take a look at Lauren Jones, not a playoff driver at this point, but that number 11 Cheetos machine has consistently been out here all season long, and Lauren is just a great teammate. And anybody who's been a teammate with Lauren will tell you that he's just a really great guy, and makes all the difference when you're racing week after week for, look at it now, 34 weeks. I mean, it has been a long season. And, we can see there's a couple of drivers here, the Allen brothers for sure, Jeff Carson and Chris Claude. These drivers, if they really want to make it into that championship 4, they absolutely are in a must-win situation this week here at Homestead and next week at Martinsville. And believe me, neither of these two tracks are the kind of tracks where you say, oh, yeah, I can do that. There aren't too many people that are confident at Martinsville and or Homestead, Miami. So, the usual kind of suspects here is we've got a few minutes left. Let's bring down the great one as we're going to see if we can get Mr. Ricky Carmichael here in the broadcast booth. Ricky Carmichael, Dave Regal in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I do.
So I had stopped up with you guys during practice earlier. What are you feeling there with the car now that you've gone through your qualifying effort? You went 17th fastest.
I mean, I'm looking for that bag of talent somewhere. I can't find it for some odd reason, but this place is a handful. It was a handful for me when I was racing the truck series as well. I just could never get a grip on it. So I don't expect too many big things from me tonight. However, I think sometimes when I have a good finish, it's when I have this kind of attitude and I don't overdrive it. So we'll see what happens. And quite frankly, I'm just going to try to stay out of trouble, make it through those first 5 laps on the restarts, and be there at the end, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the attitude to carry. I mean, week after week we see, sometimes, well, I mean, last week at the Roval, you ran into some problems and, there's drivers that sometimes you just run into that bad luck. And I mean, now you've got at least, real world experience here on the asphalt in South Florida. I mean, a lot of these drivers not, and being from Tallahassee, this is one of your quote unquote home state tracks.
That's right, it is. But even though it was a home state track, still didn't give me the feel-good effect that it should have. But nevertheless, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's crazy. I had those good runs at Kansas and Bristol a few weeks back here on the Monday night series. So, you know what? I'm looking forward to getting back into that mentality and get a couple good runs in, man.
All right, man. Well, listen, we'll get you back there. You've got about 30 seconds left in qualifying. So good luck tonight, and maybe we'll see you here at the end of one of these stage breaks, huh?
Well, let's hope so, and everyone enjoyed the broadcast.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
You bet. Thank you.
That was the greatest of all time, Ricky Carmichael, of course, supercross and motocross racer. I know you've heard his name if you've paid attention to any of those sports, as we've got about 10 seconds left in qualifying. Several drivers not deciding to take the track for qualifying: Bawalda, Sanner, Jones, Crow Sr., and Ian Humphreys. John Crow Sr. has not even gone out and logged a lap tonight, so I'm not expecting to see him take the green flag. But, stranger things have happened here as gridding is about to begin. As everybody getting ready to crawl into those window nets and get ready to rock and roll here, waiting for several more drivers to get into their cars. And while we do that, we're going to bring up our qualifying results. Sitting in the pole position tonight, Mr. Mike Wright, driver of the number 98 Ford Mustang. He's your points leader, and tonight sitting on the pole as what seems to be per usual. Eugenio Alonso running in P2 tonight on the outside of row number 1. Also P2 on your point standing. So again, another coincidence there. But right now, our starting grid's starting to kind of look like our point standings, as R.P. Allen going to be on the inside of row number 2 with Matt White on the outside. Bennett Allen running on the inside of row number 3 with Brandon Minto on his outside. Row 4 made up of Michael Astuto and Corey Burkett. Row 5, Chris Claude and Zach Osborne. Chris Claude, of course, your Davis Brothers Roofing Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series commissioner, starting in 9th. Starting in row 6, Finn Robinson and JC Josh Coppernol in the 42 Toyota Supra. Back here ready to rock and roll. Setting up here in row 7, Brad Gunn and Aaron Mack. So again, another playoff driver here with that hope, as Aaron Mack is ready to rock and roll. Matthew Helm starting in 15th position on the inside of row number 8 with Lauren Jones on the outside. Our good friend Tony Burt sitting on the inside of the GOAT, Ricky Carmichael, in the 04 Chevrolet Camaro. So the 4 and the 04 going to be starting in row number 9. Row 10 and rounding out your top 20, Alexander Gangler of Sunday Night NASCAR Race Control fame, starting on the inside in 19th with Zachary Vaughn from the 1110 Mods team starting on the outside of row number 10. Jeff Carson and John Crow Sr. making up row number 11. Carson not having a good qualifying effort tonight, but still has those playoff hopes as he is a win and in driver starting in 21st. Chad Sanner and Ian Humphreys make up row number 12 as John Bawalda and Andrew T. Jones going to be starting shotgun on the field in row number 13. So 26 drivers scheduled to take the green flag tonight. And, you know, here's the thing, folks. This is a long race. We run 100% length races here tonight. And quite frankly, it is 200 laps tonight here at Miami. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 45. As we get this graphic out of the way, thank you. And it gets even worse. There we go. Stage number 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 45. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 90 with that 110-lap sprint to the very end here. So going to be a long night in South Florida as we see these drivers get ready to rock and roll. One more lap to green, so let's make sure that we take a look at our conditions tonight. As I mentioned, 200 scheduled laps we go tonight in the week 34 matchup here at Homestead, Miami. 77 degrees outside, but that track temperature 84. So kind of a middle-of-the-road grip situation on the asphalt tonight as these drivers going to get ready to take the green flag. Mike Wright leading them around as he has done so many times this season. I got to be honest, folks, Mike Wright has just been a dominant force in this league this year. And, you know, we'll take a look at his stats later on this evening, as they are always worth mentioning, it seems, as Mike has just been that good. I mean, we're an open setup league, so, you know, everybody has a chance to sit there and really tune these chassis and get these cars just to where they like them. And it just seems like Mike has brought a lot of this to fruition this year, or a lot of this open setup engineering to fruition this year. So we see the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means we'll be getting ready to go back green flag racing here in just a moment, as we're getting ready to see Mike Wright bringing the field through the 3-4 complex. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. We're here in South Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in, because as Mike Wright brings them into the Geico restart zone, we are green flag racing in the round of 8 in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Everybody getting a pretty good start so far, keeping it pretty tight as we go into turn 1. Eugenio Alonso getting ready to slide down just in front of R.P. Allen in the 03. Looks like Eugenio has decided to get in there, and R.P. backing out as we're just on lap number 1 here tonight. No reason to get crazy too early, as everybody real tight as we move through the field right now. Looks like got some side-by-side action with Corey Burkett down in the infield. Not sure what's going on with him. But it looks like he is a slow car. Everybody having to avoid him. And now the 95 also of John Crow Sr. sliding way back here, trying to get himself regathered. Let's see what went on with Corey Burkett. And we see Corey Burkett here in the 13 car, just getting loose, coming out of 4 onto the backstretch. A usual, Chris Claude just barely avoiding catastrophe as, that little painted area is slightly raised, and as drivers check up, we see the corn car of Alexander Gangler having to check up. The 95 of John Crow Sr., he is one of our drivers that was down there on the infield. He needed some time to recover, but thank goodness, no harm, no foul. Everybody keeps it moving. We stay under green as Mike Wright has now opened 0.7 of a second over Eugenio Alonso. Matt White in the 48 car chasing down Bennett Allen. He looks to the inside of Allen. That low side, very slick that we've seen so far this week on the iRacing.com servers, but Mike Wright not afraid to undercut Allen here as Allen takes the high side, a little bit more grip, a little bit better here on the high side in the Xfinity cars. We're going to see him get a heck of a run. Not sure if Wright going to be able to hold him off there, but it looks like Wright going to try to stay here on the low side as he yet once again dives under Bennett Allen. I got to be honest, it looks like he's going to start cooking those tires off pretty early here as we're on lap number 5 of 200, working our way toward 45 as, wow, Mike Wright just sliding up right in front of Bennett Allen in that JCTV End Racism number 3 Toyota Supra. Here in the Verpal Toyota Supra is White in the 48. He gets loose coming out of 4. That allows Allen to get right up against his bumper. These drivers not willing to give up any real estate early as Mike White finally deciding to set sail. And to be completely honest, I'd be fairly certain that Bennett Allen, one of these drivers that's just patient enough to say, you know what, you go ahead, you burn up your stuff. I'm going to be back here waiting for that grip to disappear. Here at the tail end of this front group, Josh Coppernull running in the 42 JCTV Toyota Supra with 1.78 seconds between he and Chris Claude in the 10. Claude side by side with Matthew Helm in the 25, being pushed along by Finn Robinson in the 26. We have a 3-way battle right now for 10th position as Matthew Helm comes out the victor in this battle. It looks like Chris Claude perfectly content to stay in line here and save his stuff as we're still very early in this race, 7 laps in of 200. We look back through the field, and it looks like Andrew T. Jones still trying to close in on Tony Burt. 0.3 of a second separate these drivers as Mike Wright has just absolutely, what seems like, as always, set sail here as he goes back down into turns 1 and 2, and as he rolls out, he has 0.7 of a second over Eugenio Alonso. And, you know, here's the thing with Mike Wright. He is just an absolute genius when it comes to setting these cars up. I'm sure that if he winds up winning one of these stages, we're going to talk to him and he's going to say, "Oh, I made a little adjustment here because it wasn't just perfect." And you know, Mike Wright at 0.7 of a second lead over the rest of the field says it's not perfect. He's kind of like the Nick Saban of Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series racing. He's one of these drivers that he's not satisfied unless he's P1, and he's not satisfied in P1 unless he's completely dominant. Taking a look right now at Chris Claw being chased down by Aaron Mack. Welcome in tonight. If you're just tuning in on YouTube, welcome to the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal, and this is some of the most exciting racing that you're going to see on the iRacing.com servers all week long. And, you know, I got to be honest, folks, this is one of those leagues that I'm always excited when I get to watch. These guys have become like friends over the last 2 seasons. Of course, I stepped out of the car and into the booth this year. And it just seems like it's a better deal up here in the booth because I'm not down here sweating, like R.P. Allen and Eugenio Alonso. But welcome into YouTube.com, the Independence Racing Network. Make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, and let us know who you're pulling for tonight. As right now, Race Chat seems a little quiet right now on YouTube.com. Brandon Minto, however, let's go Phillies. You're darn right, Brandon. In fact, let's take a look at the 12 car now that he's decided to play up to my problem here. Of course, Brandon Minto from Norman, Oklahoma, probably closer to being a Houston Astros fan than a Philadelphia Phillies fan. But listen, I'd do anything, too, to make sure that I got the number 12 upside Ford Mustang on camera tonight. So thanks for tipping your cap to the Philadelphia Phillies. As I mentioned earlier, they have made it to the World Series in sort of surprising fashion. Came in as the lowest ranked wild card team out here to defend absolutely nothing, so they had really nothing to lose except for their pride and their dignity. And believe me, playing in Philadelphia doesn't always leave you with a whole lot of dignity. And these players just went out there and got it done this season and somehow managed to get themselves all the way into the World Series, winning the pennant yesterday over top of the San Diego Padres. And you win that series 4-1, and it just becomes exciting, no matter what's going on. But right now, taking a look at Michael Astuto getting himself around Bennett Allen as he is now putting Brandon Minto in the crosshairs. Right now, our biggest mover on track tonight is Ian Humphreys in what should be the number 32, but his paint is showing up as the 53. So Ian Humphreys, I do apologize for that paint being wrong, but I believe that there may be a glitch there between your paint file and Trading Paints as everybody else is logged in correctly. But that 53 car should be the 32. That's Ian Humphreys. He's up 10 positions from where he had begun back in 24th. So making his way up here pretty carefully as he's now working around Aaron Mack. They're about to go side by side. We can see this battle right here, as now it looks like Aaron Mack going to be backing off maybe a little as they're still side by side going into 3 and 4. Humphreys not willing to give up as he gets back on the throttle and just muscles his way out of turn 4 and down the front stretch. He crosses just ahead of Aaron Mack, but then shuffles himself right behind him yet again as Humphreys still battling it out as 2/100th of a second separate these two drivers as they are side by side going at it hammer and tongs tonight. Aaron Mack and Ian Humphreys trying to find out which one of them is going to blink first. We were talking a moment ago here as we're on lap 17 of 200, working our way toward lap 45. But we should have a pit window of about 55 laps. So everybody should get through stage 1 on one set of tires and one tank of fuel, unless something unforeseen happens, which, at the end of the day, it's kind of a gamble. Of course, we've got 4 changes, 5 total sets of tires, which puts that pit window at about 50 laps. So that lines everything up pretty well for tires and fuel, as now Jeff Carson in the number 9 Micro Center Toyota Supra. Speaking of Micro Center, the computer that, of course, I'm using here tonight, a Power Spec, bought direct. Oh! The 32 getting down on the apron, loose out of 4. Jeff Carson narrowly avoiding disaster coming out of 4 in the Micro Center machine. It's not a micro machine, but the Micro Center machine. Napa Auto Parts Toyota Supra right here. I'll tell you what, Micro Center, a great place to go check out any kind of tech equipment. Think of it this way. It's Best Buy, but it's better. The only problem is there aren't too many, store locations in the U.S. I'm fortunate enough to have one right in St. David's, just outside of Philadelphia. If you're familiar with the area, it's right on the other side of the highway from Villanova. And I'll tell you what, Micro Center, a great place to go, great service, wonderful staff. They aren't pushy. They aren't trying to, suck you into anything that you don't want, and just a great altogether staff that they have. Mike Wright has slid back now 4 positions. Mike Wright now running in 4th as Eugenio Alonso and RP Allen are duking it out, as RP Allen is our new race leader. Not sure, I got to be honest, folks, I couldn't see what happened and when. We're going to try to go back here. And of course, it's there we go. We're going to see RP Allen working his way around Eugenio, and he just gets a run on him here down the backstretch. And we're still looking for when he got around Mike Wright, as Mike Wright had a pretty big lead at that point. And here it is. And after he muscles his way around Eugenio Alonso, it looks like RP Allen manages to get around Mike Wright in fine fashion here, as he just leads him out onto the backstretch, and it just makes Mike Wright back off. So I'm sure that we're going to see Mike Wright come back an angry Hornet after he makes some stage 1 adjustments. It's going to be kind of strange not talking to Mike Wright if he doesn't win the green and white checkered flag. Eugenio Alonso right now, your race leader, as he has gotten around RP Allen, as he and RP have now decided to get the hammer and tongs out early on here on lap 22. Matt White getting involved in this 3-way battle now for the lead. We can see right here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, these 3 drivers going at it hot and heavy tonight here at Homestead Miami Speedway in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Playoff race number 2. Well, it's round of 8, number 2. And next week we have Martinsville. And then, of course, after that, we go to championship week in Phoenix. And, folks, it has been a very long season. I mean, this is a 36-week season. These drivers have been out here duking it out all year long and have finally gotten themselves into playoff form, and in just the right time. That is the now lapped car of Chad Sanner, as he must be having some kind of a mechanical issue, as we rarely see Chad way back here at the very rear of the field, as Chad becomes the first car a lap down. And that puts Alexander Gangler in the crosshairs, as he's just about 5 seconds ahead. Just about 5 seconds ahead of where Eugenio Alonso and company are, bringing around 6 seconds now, bringing around these top 3 cars, Alonso, Allen, and White. And Mike Wright now has gotten himself about a 2.67, 2.65 second distance between Wright and White. And then things get a little hairier as Michael Astudo chasing down Brandon Minto in the number 12 Upside Ford Mustang, as he's working on getting ever so close. Taking a look here, Sandy Mauger, how you doing tonight? Glad to have you here in the live feed, as there's a couple folks watching from all over the place. Glad to have you with us tonight. Busy night here on the iRacing.com servers. Of course, Sim Racing Media over, of course, that's my day job here on iRacing.com. And they have a busy night over on the Sim Racing Media airwaves. And tonight, wow! As we just saw Michael Astudo getting a run on Brandon Minto, second to none, as they work their way around Chad Sanner. And it looks like Alexander Gangler getting even closer to being lapped, as Chris Claude also having dropped way back here, now to 24th position. Tony Burt the same way, back in 23rd. Of course, Tony Burt nearly taken out by that bobble from the 13 car of Corey Burkett. We see Corey Burkett up here in 22nd position. He went, let's see here, 8th fastest during qualifying, but just could not hold it together with everybody else out here on the racetrack. And believe me, these cars are not easy to handle. I mean, we talked to the GOAT, Ricky Carmichael, before the race, and, he's the only one of us out here at Homestead tonight with real-world experience in the Xfinity and Truck Series here at Miami. The Tallahassee, Florida native deciding to hang out with those of us here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And I got to be honest, Ricky Carmichael is just such a good dude, and glad to have him as part of the league here. A great addition, and he's such an encouraging person. That's the one thing that sportsmanship can teach many of these drivers, and that's good sportsmanship. This league, there's a wide group of people. There's people that are in high school all the way up to people that are close to retirement if they're not already retired. So, there's all kinds of experience running through the ranks here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And right now, as we run, Eugenio Alonso from Buenos Aires. I mean, here's another thing. NASCAR is not just a southeastern United States sport. I mean, Eugenio Alonso up here leading this race from Buenos Aires, and in the number 86 Chevrolet Camaro. And I got to be honest, the Jack Dow Motorsports edition is just incredible up here tonight. And I mean, I know that Jack Dow Motorsports is always glad to have their drivers up here in the top 3, 4, and 5. And then we take a look back here to R.P. Allen running in P2 right now, just ahead of Matt White from Stewartville, Minnesota, running in third. Mike Wright from Greensboro, North Carolina in fourth, with Brandon Minto rounding out the top 5, the pride of Norman, Oklahoma. Speaking of the pride of certain places, kind of missing one of our good friends, the pride of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania tonight. Matthew Stafford not out here on track tonight, as he's kind of my 215 brother here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. So hopefully everything's all right with Matt, and hopefully we see him next week at Martinsville Speedway. Michael Astuto running in 6th right now, with Matthew Helm running in 7th. Josh Coppernall from Jackson, Michigan in 8th right now, driving the number 42 JCTV Toyota Supra, followed by Finn Robinson from Shropshire in 9th. And rounding out the top 10, the pride of Cross Junction, Virginia, Mr. Jeff Carson, who has now gotten himself up 11 positions from where he had qualified. So an obviously great night for Jeff and the Joe Gibbs Racing driver, as last night, unfortunately, Joe Gibbs Racing was a man short, as it was just a long day yesterday, especially with the Phillies having won the NLCS and punched their ticket to the World Series. And I got to be honest, folks, it had me distracted all kinds of crazy while I was calling the ISNF Series. Leo Bonacasa, that's my man right there, the godfather of SNN, popping into the YouTube chat. Glad to see you, brother. Cheering on Money House Racing. Of course, all these guys from Money House all night long. Keep it interesting out here on the racetrack. They're some of the most competitive drivers that we see, as Finn Robinson, speaking of competitors, one of the closer battles on track right now. Finn Robinson holding off Josh Coppernall by about 0.3 of a second with 12 laps to go here in stage number 1. As we're on lap 34 of 200, we have gone 34 laps of green flag racing. It's been exciting here. Last night in the ISNF Series, they had 17 cautions for 68 laps, and I got to be honest, folks, that can get painful after a while. As now it looks like Robinson working around Alexander Gangler. Gangler now going to be your lucky dog, as he's got some distance between himself and Sanner, as Sanner's still way back here, about to be put down another lap soon, as Gangler holding on to that lucky dog spot fairly comfortably. So I'm guessing Chad Sanner has had himself some kind of a mechanical problem in that number 59 Xbox Chevrolet Camaro. Ooh, we see Ian Humphries getting loose coming out of turn 4 just as the camera shot away. Let's take a look at that. You know, just as we were talking earlier off air, we were kind of commenting, everybody was, that, turn 2 onto the backstretch was pretty treacherous, but Ian Humphreys just made a liar out of us and decided that turn 4 was going to be treacherous as he nearly got into the 64 of Andrew T. Jones. So fortunately, he's able to gather that car together and keep it moving forward. Here on lap 37, just less than 0.2 of a second separating Humphreys and Jones, as Jones maybe a little bit slower coming through this turn here as Humphreys gets the run. Not sure how he's going to be on turn exit as they go down the backstretch. It's very bright, very warm back here, makes it pretty slick on the backstretch. As now, Jones rubs the wall coming out of turn 3 and into 4. So that's going to hinder him as he is just alongside of Ricky Carmichael. Carmichael trying to hold on to 15th position, up 3 from where he had begun. So obviously he is playing the patience game, trying to keep his equipment safe tonight. Which, here on lap 38, just about 8 laps to go in stage number 1. Now 7 to go in stage 6 to go. I'm sorry. My goodness. I can math real good, folks. As we're on lap 39, working our way toward 45. It's way too early to try to tear your equipment up. This early in the race, it's better to be conservative. And, we're in the state of Florida, so that's always a good idea anyway. But 4 cars now down a lap as Eugenio Alonso has just absolutely started laying things down pretty tough here as Lauren Jones now, your lucky dog, just ahead of Chris Claude. And when I say just ahead of, I mean 4.5 seconds ahead of Chris Claude. And Lauren Jones right now trying to hold on to that lucky dog spot. However, here we are on lap number 40, and I'm fairly certain Tony Burt is going to go a lap down before we get that competition caution. It's starting to get a little hairy here as we take a look. Let's see if we can find that one. There it is. We see Tony Burt right here in the 4 car coming down the front stretch just ahead of Eugenio Alonso. So not a whole lot of distance between these two drivers, just about 1.5 seconds. So got to be honest, folks, starting to look a little bit hairy as now Chad Sander going down 2 laps, which is something that we almost never have to say here on the air, as he wasn't involved in a wreck that I'm aware of. And now Tony Burke getting ready to be put that unfortunate lap down here, just ahead of Eugenio Alonso. Of course, he will be the lucky dog, but, to be completely honest, if I was Tony Burt, that is his teammate, Eugenio Alonso, behind him, both of them from Jack Down Motorsports. Obviously, 2 ends of the spectrum as, Eugenio Alonso getting ready to put Tony down a lap as Eugenio leads this piece as they roll down the backstretch. Now we see that turn 2 exit doing its characteristic wiggle on so many of these cars. Tony Burke goes down that lap, and we keep rolling along now with Eugenio Alonso. .43 laps complete, just 3 laps to go now. 2.5 as they come down the backstretch. R.P. Allen running in second to Eugenio Alonso. Matt White in third. Mike Wright in fourth. And Brandon Minto rounding out the top 5. Ben Robinson, Michael Astuto, Matthew Helm, JC, Josh Coppernol, and Jeff Carson rounding out your top 10. So these drivers would all, if the stage ended right this second, they would all earn those all-important stage points. Of course, if you're in the playoffs on the outside looking in, you definitely need every stage point that you can possibly get. And of course, more importantly than that, you want to see that checkered flag in your window net at the very end of this race. As we're on lap 44 now, once that 10th place car of Jeff Carson, if we end the way that things look, and it seems that way as there's 3 seconds between Carson and Osborne, once that 10th place car of Carson crosses the start-finish line, that will cause the competition caution to fly. Almost a full second between Eugenio Alonso and RP Allen as they roll down the backstretch one last time here in stage number 1. Alonso, Allen, White, Minto, Robinson, Wright, your top 6 as Alonso comes down through the 3-4 complex. He rolls the center all nice and smooth here on his exit from 4. And it looks like as he comes down the front stretch, he'll cross the start-finish line. And Eugenio Alonso, your Stage 1 winner here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Round of 8 event at Homestead, Miami. And just now we're going to see Jeff Carson cross the start-finish line, and that's when the competition caution will fly. There it is. My goodness, they certainly waited long enough. Let's see if we can get Eugenio Alonso here on the radio. In fact, we're going to wait. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on the Independence Racing Network as we are proudly presented by Butt Kicker, RS Button Boxes, and presented by Northeastern Fire and Air. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have, breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Homestead, Miami Speedway as Eugenio Alonso captures the green and white checkered flag here. The Buenos Aires native winning stage number 1. Eugenio Alonso, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Hey, Dave. How are you, man?
I'm good, brother. Listen, congratulations on the stage 1 win. You were up there kicking ass and taking names, for lack of a better term, brother. I mean, how is this car hooked up for you tonight?
I feel very good, the car, but I don't know. Mike go back to help me, I think. And without Mike, was easy win the stage. But at the end of the race, Mike race hard, always race hard.
He does always race hard. I mean, listen, you were putting cars down laps, you know, like left and right, and usually we don't see that until the end of stage 2 and the beginning of stage 3. So you obviously have all of this hooked up tonight with the Reaper setups, the Jack Down Motorsports energy in this car. I mean, you know, what are you looking for stage 2?
I try and do the same. Save tires, this track, kill tires quickly, and try to save tires and keep RP behind me.
Keep RP behind me. That is something very important tonight. Well, congratulations on your stage 1 win, and we will see you on the other side.
I hope talk to you again. See you, man.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Good luck.
Thanks.
That was Eugenio Alonso, winner of stage 1, the Jack Down Motorsports veteran. As he is running P2 right now in point standings, he's looking to make sure that he can keep his championship 4 form. as we took a look last week, Mike Wright, your winner, with Eugenio Alonso, the bridesmaid, or the maid of honor, if you will, running in P2 at the end of last week's race at Las Vegas. So Eugenio Alonso looking to get his win and punch his ticket into that championship 4. He gets the dirt off of his tires here as the field comes down the back stretch. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, and that can only mean one thing. We're getting ready to go back green flag racing. Our flag man here on the front stretch getting ready to get the green flag in the air. It's waiting. He's waiting. Eugenio Alonso has that foot hovering just above the loud pedal. He checks the gloves one last time as the pace car dives down pit road. We hit the Geico restart zone. Eugenio Alonso hits the loud pedal, and we are back green flag racing at Homestead, Miami. Alonso brings the field down the backstretch, and we are going to turn it up right now and let you listen to some of these cars as we rock it around Homestead. Three-wide situation here with the 64 as they have sorted that out. The 64, the 32, which is supposed to be the 32, the 53, however, on your screen. John Bawalda, owner of Jackdown Motorsports, in on this dance right now as he's getting ready to try to draft up just behind the 64 of Andrew T. Jones, no relation to the baseball player. Speaking of baseball, the Philadelphia Phillies last night became the National League champions and winning that NL pennant in the senior circuit. And just a great night here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as the 64 now goes three wide as he splits the 91 and the 53. My goodness, Zachary Vaughn now down into 18th position. Zach holding on for dear life, as that can always be a little bit nerve-wracking. Now, Ricky Carmichael trying to hold off this steam train that seems to be Andrew T. Jones, and it looks like Jones is trying to get as much position as he can out of these tires before he cooks them all the way off that Chevrolet Camaro. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, R.P. Allen 0.2 of a second over top of R.P. Allen, with Matt White lurking in third. Folks, you are watching the Independence Racing Network live on YouTube.com. Dave Regal here at the microphone. Glad to have everybody with us tonight as we have a three-way battle for the lead right now. R.P. Allen in the middle of this sandwich between Eugenio Alonso and Matt White, as Matt White drifting back just a little bit, maybe trying to get the run here into turn 3, as we do see so often. He gets a run right onto the rear bumper of R.P. Allen, and then R.P. beats him just every time on exit, and it seems like Matt White ready to pull out all the stops on this instrument that he's driving right now to try to get up here into P2. Michael Astuto trying to chase down the 26 of Finn Robinson, just 0.15 of a second separating these two drivers. All kinds of close action tonight as Bennett Allen working around the 25 on the high side. That's Matthew Helm there on the low side in that Toyota Supra. And wow, that's close, as now Jeff Carson has the duty of trying to hold back Bennett Allen, and this can only be disastrous if bad things happen here, as Jeff Carson trying to hold off Bennett Allen, but Bennett making that high side work in the number 3 JCTV and Racism Toyota Supra, as now he rolls over top of Jeff Carson. That leaves Carson in 9th, Matthew Helm in 10th, rounding out the top 10. We're on lap number 57 of 200, working our way toward lap number 90, as it looks like Helm trying to draft up to the rear of Jeff Carson, not willing to give up any kind of real estate is Carson. And just behind them, Zach Osborne in the 90 and in the 16 and the 95 of John Crow Sr. side by side going into the turn here. And it looks like John Crow Sr. going to have to cede that position away as Osborne gets the run down the backstretch as we head into turn 3. And this just in from the 82 car of Alexander Gangler. This is an interesting development. It looks like he got a 14-minute stop and hold for reconnecting to the race after losing connection, so he decided to park it. That would be why he is no longer on the racing surface. Let's see if I can find him here in the race chat. And of course, at all times, of all the times, now the 82 of Alexander Gangler Alexander's not even in Discord anymore, so I was going to pull him up here into the broadcast booth, but I guess he's decided to put it on the hauler and head out of town before things get tight here on I-95 to come back north toward Martinsville for next week. Meanwhile, RP Allen, your new race leader, has worked his way around Eugenio Alonso. Let's see where that pass just happened here. And RP just getting the better run over Alonso. That's something that we see all the time. RP Allen just getting a run on a driver, and he's able to make that pass cleanly here on lap number 61. Of course, he had gotten that about 4 laps ago on lap 57, so good for RP Allen as he is trying to work his way into another stage win here on lap 62 now as they pass the stripe one more time, diving into turn 1. And he brings the field in here, and just as we sit here in the digger cam, listen to these cars. RP Allen working around the lap car of Corey Burkett. Corey Burkett down 3 laps right now, and not going to get any easier for him tonight as RP has taken the lead now in the 03 Yahoo.com Toyota Supra. Of course, Yahoo, a great source for all of your fantasy football action. Of course, pretty deep in the season now if you're thinking of starting a league, but think about it for next year. And of course, you can always check out the fantasy NASCAR section there on yahoo.com if you're interested. A great website, very user-friendly when it comes to fantasy sports, as Yahoo has become so much more than the email server and search engine that it started out as so many years ago. But, you know, here in Homestead, Miami, here at Homestead, we have a lot of records that have been set over the years. I mean, NASCAR's been coming here for quite a long time. This, of course, used to be where the season ended every year. This is where championship weekend was usually held. And now, of course, they've started to rotate that around. In the Cup Series, Brad Keselowski still holds the lap record for qualifying at 29.795 seconds. Of course, tonight, our best lap in the Xfinity car so far is a 33.46, set, of course, by RP Allen. Then in the race, Jeff Gordon won in 2 hours, 51 minutes, and 14 seconds with an average speed of 142 miles an hour. That was back in 2012 in the 400-miler. Here in the Xfinity Series, Casey Mears in a Dodge back in 2004. So 18 years ago, set the lap record at 30.348 seconds. So still 3 seconds faster than these drivers in that Mopar power at 177 miles per hour. And we can see right here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen, nearly 180 miles an hour into the turn here as RP backs off quite substantially down to nearly 140 miles per hour. Trying to keep this version of the Xfinity car underneath him. He's still being chased down by Eugenio Alonso. As we look a little bit further back, Mike Wright trying to chase down Brandon Minto. Mike Wright has this car all wound up, but yeah, we see Casey Mears in 2004, then the race winner, the 300-miler, which of course we're watching right now. That fast time was set by none other than front row Joe Nemechek, November 10th, 2001, in his Chevrolet Camaro. Actually, that would have been a Chevrolet Impala. And that was before the reconfiguration with an average speed of 132 miles per hour. Your records here are held by most wins tied with as Greg Biffle and Tony Stewart each have 3. The most top 5s and top 10s are held by Kevin Harvick, and the most starts here at Homestead, Miami, held as a tie once again by Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson. Of course, that being going to be split up next season once we come here again, as Jimmy Johnson no longer racing in the Cup Series. Denny Hamlin holds 3 poles here, as the most laps led belongs to Carl Edwards at 615. So a lot of dominant statistics here, as we're going to take one more look here. Oh, we have a crash here with Corey Burkett and Matthew Helm. We stay green. Let's see what happened. And we see Corey Burkett here in that black car on the inside of the number 39 of Michael Astuto. Burkett on the low side in turn 2. Oh, just gets into it with Matthew Helm, and these two drivers still facing forward. I'm rather surprised that we didn't see the caution fly here, as they did manage to get off the racing surface, but still perilously close and facing the wrong direction, something that you never really want to see. As we're on lap 71 of 200, as we have been all green all the time with the exception of that one caution for competition at the end of stage number 1. Eugenio Alonso, your race winner, once again has gotten around RP Allen, and he managed to go side by side with him on lap 68. Let's take a look back. And we see Eugenio Alonso just working his way past RP Allen. He gets the run coming into 3 and manages to get right back on the throttle just in time to slide ahead of RP Allen on turn 4's exit. So good for Eugenio, who is out here battling his heart out tonight to punch that ticket to the championship for Jack Dow Motorsports. RP Allen running second to his first. Brandon Minto in third. Mike Wright in fourth, and Finn Robinson rounding out the top 5. Finn Robinson trailing Mike Wright by just 0.2 of a second now. As we see Finn trying to chase down Wright, but it just doesn't seem to be working yet for him. Meanwhile, Jeff Carson about to be side by side with none other than Josh Coppernell in the number 42 JCTV Toyota Supra. They go single file once again, diving down into turn 3. Looks like Carson able to make this bottom line work very well for the Micro Center Toyota Supra as he rolls out of 4, able to hold that low line so long. So as we are now under caution, as Lauren Jones has crashed, let's take a look. Looks like Lauren Jones may have gotten off track here. We see him here in the number 11 Cheetos Toyota, and he just comes down, and it's very strange. I got to be honest, this is not something that you see every day. As maybe Lauren had some kind of a hardware issue here at home. We see him rolling out of turn 2. He stays here on the low side. It's almost like he just ran out of fuel. I think Lauren Jones just ran out of fuel. That puts us under caution on lap 75. We'll see if there's any takers down pit road on the lead lap. We'll see if we can find Lauren Jones. Lauren Jones, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, what just happened? Did you run out of fuel?
No, I did not. I actually, my right front had got some damage, and I was not turning at full speed, so I was needing to get in for everyone's safety, and I thought it was the access ramp, but I was wrong, and yeah, unfortunately, it seemed to bring out the caution.
Yeah, I looked down and I hopped into your car, and I thought, oh my, it almost seemed like you would run out of fuel, but glad that wasn't too terrible. Obviously, you're towing back to the pits now. Homestead, Miami, kind of a home track for you, being from New Smyrna Beach. How did the car feel right up until the damage occurred?
Awful. I mean, I haven't run this bad at Homestead in a long time. I don't know exactly what's causing it, but I just never really got in a groove. And then when I tapped the right front, I actually, at any time I was at full speed, it wasn't turning at all. So I decided it's best for everybody if I got in, get it fixed.
You know, once again, that's just a tip of the cap to the sportsmanship that we see on iRacing. I mean, here you are having a rough night, and rather than put anybody else at risk, a tip of the cap to you, sir, of being able to get out of harm's way and hopefully not cause anything bigger.
Yeah, I mean, it's just because I'm having a bad day. I mean, it makes no sense to take it out on anybody else.
I get it. All right, brother. Well, listen, good luck, and we'll send you back to your Discord.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Lauren Jones, driver of the number 11 Cheetos Toyota Supra. We're going to get a hold of our good friend Tony Burt since we have some time. I always look for a reason to get a hold of Tony. Tony Burt, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I do. How are you?
Hey, man, listen, I'm always looking for an excuse to talk to you. Glad to have you here tonight, but looks like you've got some stuff going on pit road. What's going on?
Oh, I just wanted to come in there and get a splash of fuel and repair some of the damage where I've been kissing the wall like I'm dating it.
I mean, did you take her out to dinner?
I think I did.
As long as you take her out to dinner first, that's a date.
This is not my kind of track, buddy. I can tell you, I'm a super speedway kind of guy.
Listen, your super speedway skills showed themselves at Talladega a couple of weeks ago. And, trust me, I get it. These intermediate tracks are a handful, especially in the Xfinity cars. And, I mean, but you're able to keep it up here and at least somewhat competitive through the night.
Yeah, I'm gonna place through attrition. Whoever falls out, I'll be in front of them. But I won't be passing anybody on the track. That's for sure. I don't have the talent.
Well, trust me, I get it. I totally get it. But all right, brother. Well, listen, I don't want to hold you up, as I know that you got to get back in line as we're getting ready to go back green.
Yes, sir. Great talking to you.
All right, man. Take it easy.
Take care.
That is Mr. Tony Burt, one of the quintessential good sportsmen here on the iRacing.com servers. He's just an all-around good dude, and always glad when I get an excuse to talk to him, as the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, and that means that once the iRacing.com pace car drives down pit road, we will go back green flag racing. Eugenio Alonso with his finger on the button. He hits through the Geico restart zone, smashes the loud pedal, and just gets an amazing jump over RP Allen. Folks, you are watching the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series live on YouTube.com. I'm Dave Regal. This is the Independence Racing Network. And the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series right now in the round of 8 for playoffs this year in 2022. And, these drivers have been duking it out all season long, and it all comes down to this. Brandon Minto, Finn Robinson, Mike Wright, and Brandon Minto getting ready to go at it. As Mike Wright was your pole sitter tonight, now has slid all the way back into 5th position. He's riding that high line. It's almost like he's just lurking back here. Oh! And it looks like somebody just might have made contact with the 3 car. Let's take a look. As we're going to see this right here, up close and personal with the 3 car. The 16 of Zach Vaughn gets up into him. I'm sorry, Zach Osborne gets up into him, and the rest is history. It doesn't look like it was intentional per se. Let's see if we can maybe get the chopper cam here. Get to the chopper. As we go down here, we're going to see Zach Vaughn just drift up as he tightens up into the 3. Hopefully not too much damage for Bennett here in the 3 cars. He is a playoff driver, so definitely not something that you want to see, as now he is dancing around with the 95 of John Crow Sr. coming down the front stretch into turn 1 and 2. And side by side goes Jeff Carson, as now it looks like Bennett is pushing around Zach Osborne, maybe trying to get that position back from him, as he just pushed him all the way through turn 1. Now Bennett taking the high side, getting, oh my, Bennett Allen spinning around, manages to keep it together like it's a dirt track car, as he just gives a little love tap there to the 16 of Zach Osborne, as that would be Bennett Allen's trademark there for the night. Definitely not a dirty driver by any stretch, but I can imagine that he's very frustrated with the 16. So the 16 probably had that coming, to be honest. And Bennett, usually a very classy driver, not out here to do that intentionally, as he now works alongside of John Crow Sr. and puts his sights back on Zach Osborne yet again, as Osborne clawing to get as far away from Bennett as possible, as he's about to turn that Toyota Supra into a Kubota snow removal device. Bennett Allen starting to lurk behind the 16 yet again of Zach Osborne. He gets another run on Osborne. Let's see if these 2 drivers can get along, as Osborne checks up and gets out of Bennett's way. Bennett decides to set sail without any incident now for Jeff Carson, who is just 0.4 of a second ahead of him. However, one of the closer battles on track right now, RP Allen dragging along the 42 now, as they are side by side. This is the battle for second, as the 42 just drove past Bennett Allen as if he wasn't even there. Of course, the 42 on fresh tires, making it look easy on those fresh tires, as maybe he was trying to burn a little bit of his equipment up, as he is now after Eugenio Alonso coming out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Looks like he is going for the stage win right now on these fresh tires. That means that he's going to have a little bit of a shortage of tires come the end of this race, as we're going to have 110 laps with what should be 2 pit stops between there and the end. So things definitely heating up, as now your race leader is Josh Coppernoll in the 42 JCTV Toyota Supra, as he gets around Eugenio Alonso without any problems whatsoever. It's almost as if Alonso was standing still coming into turn 3, and just as they make the run back down the front stretch, they cross the start-finish line, and Josh Coppernoll scored as your race leader with about 5 to go here in stage number 2.
I know belts and hoses, not X and O's. I do O2 sensors, but not defenses. Yeah, I make a right call to keep your car in the game. Don't even need a playbook, it's all in my brain. Fuel injectors, alternators, radiators too. It's who I am, it's what I do. Never know how. Never know how.
Lap 87 of 200, working our way toward lap number 90 here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, live on the Independence Racing Network If you're just tuning in on YouTube.com, make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications. Give us a thumbs up on our social media platforms as, we're here as the exclusive broadcast provider of the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Of course, brought on by Mr. Bob Nestor, who was this year's commissioner in the MNN Xfinity Series. He has decided to step back into a different role now on the iRacing.com servers. So that leaves us here with a couple of races to go. And Bob, sitting at home, hopefully watching us. Bob, we miss you here, and hopefully we'll see you next year on iRacing.com. Josh Coppernell, your race leader on lap number 88, as he comes around for lap 89 at the stripe. He has built himself a 1.39 second lead over top of Eugenio Alonso. RP Allen about to give Finn Robinson some trouble here, as Robinson trying to hold the low line. RP not getting a run whatsoever over Robinson. As we're going to look back here, Zach Osborne was just doing battle with Bennett Allen. Zach Osborne now running in 11th, down a spot from where he had begun, but Bennett Allen on his recovery drive has made it all the way back up into 7th, still 2 spots behind where he had qualified. But he's about to work his way around points leader Mike Wright coming down the front stretch. They're going to have quite a fight on their hands for 7th position, as Bennett Allen and Mike Wright exchanging blows. Bennett Allen rubbing the wall. That's going to scrub enough speed to put him behind Mike Wright yet again, as that puts Mike Wright safely in 6th position. Bennett Allen trying to get the run on him as they come down. Joshua Coppernell about a quarter lap away from the Stage 2 win. Bennett Allen works his way around the top side of this racetrack over top of Mike Wright. They're going to be side by side coming back to the green and white checkered flag at the conclusion of Stage 2. Bennett Allen does not have enough and finishes in 7th position behind Mike Wright. He sneaks around Jeff Carson just barely as the caution flag flies. Josh Coppernell, Eugenio Alonso, Finn Robinson, RP Allen, Brandon Minto, Mike Wright, Bennett Allen, Jeff Carson, Michael Astuto, and John Crow Sr. Your Stage 2 top 10, your Stage 2 winner, Josh Coppernell. And while we wait for everybody to come down and get pit road service, we're going to go side by side and hear from our good friends over at Sim Racing Media. Taking a look right now at the Jackson, Michigan native Josh Coppernell in the number 42 JCTV Toyota Supra. He comes down for 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast. We're going to go up here and see if we can get a hold of Josh Coppernell from Money House Racing. Josh Coppernell, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I do.
Hey, man, listen. Money House Racing coming out here pretty strong in Stage 2. And you were looking great as now you've won the battle off of pit road. How is that car feeling in Stage 2?
Well, honestly, this Money House Racing Toyota, it's unfortunately just tight. It's really hard to drive. We took tires. I'm very surprised only 3 people hit during that caution that happened a little bit ago. Myself, Bennett Allen, and I don't remember who the other one was. Bennett, he had such a big run, and something happened with him. But, yeah, it was just the fresh tires that was able to get us up here. Eugenio's fast. It's going to be very hard to hold him off. But, going to take this Toyota and give it all I got.
Well, sometimes that's the only thing. Sometimes that's the only thing that you can do. And I mean, listen, we saw those fresh tires make their mark on your stage 2 run to the front. I mean, quite frankly, as soon as I saw you making up, all that distance, I thought, well, you're going to drive to the front and take the stage 2 win. And, now we'll see what happens in stage 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, a lot of guys, they are fighting with a tight race car. Except it seems like Genio is absolutely put on the clinic. But, yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen. The strategy, obviously, we're down a set of tires now. But I think we'll be all right as long as we don't get crazy with cautions here.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the stage 2 win. We will catch up with you later, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium at the end of stage 3.
Thank you.
That was Mr. Josh Coppernell, driver of the number 42 JCTV Toyota Supra. He's going to line up as we get ready to rack and restack here for stage 3 with Eugenio Alonso on his outside, Finn Robinson and Brandon Minto in row 2. Row 3 going to be made up of RP Allen and Mike Wright, Jeff Carson and Zach Osborne in row 4. Rounding out the top 10, John Crow Sr. and Ian Humphreys. So a lot of the usual suspects atop this pile, as some of the other drivers tonight that we expected to see a little bit better out of, not doing as well. Zach Vaughn, one of them here in the 91, all the way back in 13th position, still up 7 spots, but your big movers of the night happen to be Ian Humphreys in what should be the 32, but is currently listed as the 53 on his paint scheme. We see that here running in 9th, and Jeff Carson also up 14 positions in the Micro Center Toyota Supra. Of course, the car that we're all watching right now is Josh Coppernell, as he's going to have to hold off Eugenio Alonso in the 86 car, as Eugenio Alonso running P2 in points and, finished P2 last week on the podium at Las Vegas. So he rolled the dice last week. Let's see if he does it again, as Mike Wright, your points leader, very dominant all season long, going to be restarting in 5th position here on the inside of row number 3. The iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. He waves it, and we are back underway at Homestead, Miami. All kinds of action here as we see Michael Astuto in the 39 trying to hold his own against John Crow Sr. here in the 95. They are side by side going into turn 1. And Astuto holding his position as Bennett Allen. Oh, Brad Gunn in the 36 goes sideways. And can he keep it faced forward? No, he can't. He goes sideways. We still stay under green as he gets it down below the racing surface. And Brad Gunn going to have a long recovery drive now as we look ahead to Andrew T. Jones and Matthew Helm in the 25. We see the Toyota and the Chevrolet here side by side as it looks like Matthew Helm trying to hold off Jones. And Jones still riding that high side, obviously has found some kind of grip to keep that momentum moving. That puts him in direct battle with Tony Burt next here in the 4 car. Tony Burke getting loose coming out of turn 2. Maybe a victim of cold tires as he gets down onto the apron. He waits for a clear pass and gets back up onto the racing surface just ahead of Ricky Carmichael, who has some damage to the front end here, quite obviously, of the 04 Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro. Not sure where he picked that up, but obviously Ricky Carmichael not a happy driver tonight, as we are just about to cross that century mark here next time by, as Eugenio Alonso is now your race leader yet again. Josh Coppernell dropping all the way back to 5th. Mike Wright holding on to 2nd. And this is the battle that we've all been expecting all year long, as RP Allen is side by side with Brandon Minto in the 12 car. That Ford Mustang holding his own on the high side. trying to get the run out of 4 onto the front stretch, crossing the start-finish line. We have a 4-way battle for the lead as Mike Wright splits off as he tightens up like crazy, going to the high side of the track. So obviously Mike Wright battling some kind of a tight condition tonight. Gets the run, drafts off the rear of Eugenio Alonso, makes the pass, and Eugenio Alonso gives up P1 as he has now got to battle his way around the rear end here of Mike Wright. The hammer and tongs coming out early tonight, and don't get me wrong, I think the torches and pitchforks are getting ready to make an appearance as R.P. Allen now fiercely battling just behind Eugenio Alonso. There's a Ford, a Chevrolet, and a Toyota all here in the top 3 as we take a look here at our manufacturers on the top ticker here on lap 101. We have crossed that century mark, past the halfway point now at Homestead, Miami in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series live on the Independence Racing Network. We are going to step aside and pay some bills here from our good friends over at Sim Racing Media and Preen.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. I'm Dave Regal. This is the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. We want to take a quick look here at what happened with Bennett Allen as things seem to have gotten hairy for him. And we saw Bennett Allen as he slid down pit road. Here we go. Now we're getting this all queued up for you here, folks. As Bennett Allen and Michael Astuto were doing battle coming down the backstretch, Astuto gets a run on Allen in the number 3 End Racism JCTV Toyota Supra. And it looks like Astuto simply tightened up and drifted up into Allen. And that put Allen into the wall. Fortunately, he was right there at the beginning of pit road and able to bring it down onto pit road for some repair, but unfortunately it looks like he's going to be having a rough go of it moving forward as he is now down several laps. Meanwhile, his brother R.P. Allen just takes the lead away from Eugenio Alonso and Mike Wright, as we still have a three-way battle here at the top: a Toyota, a Chevrolet, and a Ford all atop the pile. Now we're currently looking at the best times here on your top line. We're going to start to see a lot of these times fall off, as the best time for R.P. Allen was a 33.26. We're currently about 20 laps in on these tires, and in 20 laps he's already dropped a full second. And we're now going to switch over to the last time as we get through the field. So Bennett Allen's best time a 33.26, his last time a 34.12. So things starting to slow down for Bennett Allen pretty substantially. However, Alonso running a faster lap time than Allen, so we're going to start to see him closing in here ever so gently, which is exactly the kind of thing that, you know, the guys at Jackdown Motorsports and Money House Racing both try to do all season long, as they are still battling it out here atop the pile. Meanwhile, back further in the field, Ian Humphreys in the 53 machine here, that Chevrolet, chasing down Jeff Carson. He has now closed that gap to 17/10 of a second. But don't look now, Matthew Helm about to try to take Andrew Jones over here as he gets a run coming into turn 3. They are side by side through 3. They roll into 4, and on their way out of 4, it looks like Matthew Helm going to get the edge over Andrew Jones. No relation to the baseball player. And speaking of baseball, pretty exciting week here in Philadelphia for baseball, as the Philadelphia Phillies are your 2022 NL pennant winners. They are the champions of the National League for the season. The lowest ranked wild card team suddenly is the best in the NL and will represent the senior circuit in the World Series against the ever popular Houston Astros. So a big night there. Welcome into YouTube.com. I am Dave Regal. This is the Independence Racing Network. Glad to have all of you with us. Make sure that if you haven't done so already, that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, give us a shout in the live chats, as always glad to have new viewers with us here on iRacing.com. Right now, Eugenio Alonso, your race leader, over top of R.P. Allen, as we're going to see exactly what just went on for Eugenio as he got around R.P. And Eugenio just gets the run coming into 3 and 4. He holds the low side pretty well, and that was just enough to, as it looks like Bennett may have been fighting a tight condition in 3 and 4, just has to give up that position for the time being here on lap number 114. And, we don't say it enough, but the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is brought to you by Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. And, these two companies have been wonderful partners and sponsors throughout the season. They have both graciously given some awesome prizes for our winners this season in the championship point standings. Of course, the champion this year will be awarded a Butt Kicker and his choice of an iFlag or $100. Second and third place in the championship will also each win a Butt Kicker. Then fourth place will get whatever the champion didn't choose, either the iFlag or $100. So if the champion should choose the $100, then the iFlag would go to the fourth place winner. Then the top non-playoff driver will get whatever the champ and fourth place didn't choose. So, there's prizes all around this season, and just great partners in Butt Kicker and RS Button Boxes. And of course, as you've seen all night long in the upper right-hand corner, aside from the iRacing logo, Northeastern Fire and Air is the proud presenter of the Independence Racing Network, and of course, always proud of what they do over at Northeastern Fire and Air. Of course, to peel back the curtain a little bit, that's my dad's company. He's been doing that now for about 15 years, as he's been doing that since 2007. And Northeastern Fire and Air has been providing the utmost professionalism in breathing air service and sales since 2007 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. So great to be partnered up with Dad and Northeastern Fire and Air here on the Independence Racing Network. Right now, Eugenio Alonso paired up with a winning combination right now in his setup shop, as right now there are 19 cars left on the lead lap. Tony Burt, the last one, hanging on for dear life. He's 21 seconds back, which puts him about 12 seconds from being put a lap down, as his last lap, Tony Burt's, was 36.23. Eugenio Alonso, 34.78. So obviously things not looking good for Tony Burt to stay here on the lead lap, as we're on lap 119 of 200 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And I'll tell you what, the MNN Xfinity Series all season long has been putting on some great shows here on a Monday night. I mean, these drivers are the best at what they do. I mean, the Xfinity cars on the whole are a big handful. These cars do not handle as easily as the Cup cars do. And just as I say that, Michael Astuto trying to keep that car from tightening up too much there on the bottom line, coming out of 4. But, it takes a lot of skill to drive these Xfinity cars, and these drivers have put on quite a clinic in how to do it right all season long. And speaking of right, Mike Wright, your points leader, currently running in 4th position. We see him from Greensboro, North Carolina, here in the number 98 Ford Mustang, sponsored by the Fresh Market. And, Mike had mentioned a couple of weeks ago, some of the good work that the Fresh Market does. Make sure to check them out and, enjoy some of the shopping that you can do there at the Fresh Market. As, again, they have been sticking with Mike Wright all season in one form or another. Meanwhile, we see the number 26 Shropshire Shropshire native Finn Robinson driving his Chevrolet Camaro up here 8 positions. But right now, the biggest movers on track tonight, Ian Humphreys from Renton, Washington, in the number 53 machine tonight from Adrenaline, his Chevrolet. He's up 15 positions from where he had begun. Then John Crow Sr. up 14, as well as Cross Junction, Virginia's very own Jeff Carson. Both of those drivers up 14 positions, as Carson trying to chase down the lap car of Corey Burkett. And Burkett had some trouble early on in the race that kind of took him out of contention for this piece. And it has just been a very interesting race for him. So just as we do that, we're going to step aside and let you folks turn it up here on the Independence Racing Network. 129 laps in of 200, just about 71 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway. You're watching the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series live on the Independence Racing Network. I'm Dave Regal here in the Conshohocken studios of the Independence Racing Network. Eugenio Alonso, your race winner right now with a 2.4 second lead over RP Allen, as RP trying to hold his own here. Both those drivers not being down pit road since lap 92. Getting about 55 to 58 laps out of a tank of fuel tonight. So that came directly from Jeff Carson earlier on in the evening. So obviously things starting to get evened out here as we're starting to get into that pit window. Oh, as Carson gets loose. The 95 of John Crow Sr. has to check up to get around him. Let's take a look and see what happened. We'll take a look here at Jeff Carson yet again, getting ready to dive down into turn one. And it looks like he just got loose. He winds up being able to keep it moving forward. So obviously good for Jeff, but maybe not necessarily good for John Crow Sr., as he had to check up pretty hard, but manages to keep it moving as well. Alonso, Allen, Robinson, Minto, Coppernoll, Crow, Carson, Helm, Humphreys, and Astuto round out your top 10. And here in the YouTube.com live chat, Jeffrey Urbanak is saying Brando Minto is number one. And I got to tell you, Brando Minto is clawing his way up to that number one position, as he's currently up 2 from where he qualified, running in P4 right now in the number 12 Upside Ford Mustang. 132 laps complete, as drivers have gotten themselves fairly spread out tonight, so that's a good thing as far as keeping the cars clean the rest of the way here. Something that we don't see too often in many of the leagues on iRacing.com, but quite obviously the MNN Xfinity Series prides itself in being among the safest when it comes to driving out here on the virtual track. Glad to have everybody with us, keeping an eye on us from wherever you may be and however you may be watching. We are glad to have you in with us tonight, as RP Allen, desperately trying to claw his way up, has now closed that gap to 2.32 seconds between himself and Alonso. But Alonso just a force to be reckoned with tonight here in the MNN Xfinity Series. Aaron Mack and Brad Gunn side by side coming out of turn 4. And it looks like Aaron Mack going to try to make another attempt to pass Brad Gunn in the 36. This time he's going to do it on the high side. He gets a little bit too tight, so he may be battling that condition. Let's take a look here in the cockpit, and we'll see if he's fighting a tight car. Oh my, yes. You can see him just drifting up the track, definitely fighting a tight race car tonight is Aaron Mack in the 31, so he may not have too much, or at least Brad Gunn may not have too much to worry about from him. Meanwhile, John Bawalda up here in the 51 machine, up 13 spots, running in 13th right now in the 51 Chevrolet Camaro. As, of course, the Jackdown Motorsports team had its best finish of the year back a couple of weeks ago at Talladega Super Speedway. Now everybody kind of separated, as Tony Burt, doing his very best to stay on the lead lap, has not done so, as he is now the lucky dog. So if the caution came out, now would be the time, which would put Tony back on the lead lap. Meanwhile, his polar opposite here in the 04 Monster Energy Chevrolet Camaro, driven by none other than Tallahassee's very own Ricky Carmichael. And yes, if you're wondering at home, that is the Ricky Carmichael. He is the GOAT of Supercross and Motocross, and you can check him out over on the Dale Jr. Download. A great interview he got with Dale Jr., and I'll tell you what, just an all-around good dude. He comes and hangs out with us week after week after week, and just a good competitor, always encouraging out here on the racetrack. So glad to have him with us here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Something I don't say very often here on the air, but Eugenio Alonso chasing down Mike Wright. Mike Wright came down on lap 130, and it looks like Eugenio's trying to put him down a lap as we're on lap 139. So Mike Wright coming down on lap 130, obviously holding his own, as green flag pit stop's going to be in full swing here in just a few moments, as it looks like Corey Burkett coming down pit road here under green. Of course, not going to affect positions too much for him or any of the other lead lap cars. But right now, the drivers that came down on lap 92, 1 through 14, so positions 1 through 14 all coming down pit road on lap 92. Let's take a look here at their pit strategy. In the middle of your screen, everybody basically on the same pit cycle except for Josh Coppernoll. Here at the very bottom, we're going to get down here to Coppernoll, as Coppernoll had come in a little early, which, to be completely honest, I don't necessarily blame him, as he was pretty much just trying to get himself that stage 1 win. So a great job for him. Sorry about that, folks, but he had come down at lap 20 after 27 laps, and then had a little 18-lap run to the end of stage 2, where ultimately he had done such a great job and finished first there at the end of stage 2. Lap time starting to show their age here on these cars. We can see right here at the bottom of your screen, Eugenio Alonso starting to fall off lap after lap. Is on 137. He was a 35.047. Now he's a 35.006, and it's just getting a little slower here. 139 and 140 were definitely his slowest laps, but he's trying to recover that pace that he had. Unfortunately, I don't think... Whoa! Didn't see who that was getting out of his way. I believe that was John Bawalda, and it was, as that is his team owner here in the number 51 Chevrolet Camaro. Things not changing too much condition-wise here on the racetrack. Still 77 degrees on the outside air temperature, 81 degrees, so that track's starting to cool off as the sun is setting here in South Florida. And, oh! That was one of the Allen brothers. That would be Bennett Allen, as he had tightened up. And just as a reminder, folks, 2 races left in the season right here on your screen, all times at 9 p.m. Eastern, going live here on the Independence Racing Network. Next week, Halloween, we'll be doing some pre-race work at 8 o'clock, but that race beginning at 9 p.m. for Martinsville Speedway, 250 laps at Martinsville on Halloween. And then November 7th, championship weekend, 200 laps at Phoenix Raceway. So a big night there in Phoenix as Mike Wright looks to put the jewels in his crown for this season. As it looks like Zach Vaughn and Ian Humphreys getting ready to do battle right here. I can't be thankful enough for the opportunity and for the blessing that it's been to call these races for the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. I mean, the 91 makes a little bit of contact with the 53. Zach Vaughn getting into the 53's rear, and the 53 decides, you know what? I'm coming down pit road. It's time. Finn Robinson, the first of these leaders to come down pit road, as he is now in for pit service. That leaves Minto, Coppernoll, Allen, and Alonso atop the pile, as Robinson going to be ceding a few spots here as he is falling like a rock, as these drivers are still out on track, keeping it all nice and exciting for us here. And right now we are going to step aside as green flag stops are underway and hear from our sponsors.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
drivers that took time.
Welcome back to Homestead Miami Speedway. Mike Wright, your race leader, but not for long, as he last came down on lap 130. So he's about 26 laps in on this set of tires. However, all those drivers that just came down under green to get service rendered on their cars, they're starting to make up the distance, as Mike Wright has 11 and a half seconds over top of RP Allen. Eugenio Alonso following him by about 0.3 of a second. Ben Robinson in fourth. Jeff Carson in fifth with one of his best performances of the season so far. Now, keep in mind, Carson hasn't been down since lap 132. So right now, freshest tires out on the track are Josh Coppernell and Brandon Minto, the 45 and the 12, each coming down on lap 153 and 152, as well as Eugenio Alonso up here in third. So many other drivers may have to come down and get service on these cars before they can take the checkered flag in just over 40 laps. Eugenio peeking to the inside of the 03 of RP Allen. And the Money House Racing 03 Yahoo Toyota Supra holding his own. We can see iRacing having a little bit of trouble rendering whether or not it's supposed to be dusk or not here on the backstretch, as that sun's starting to go down on the west side. And Eugenio getting a run on RP, but RP taking that lane away from him. And folks, if you are joining us on YouTube.com, if you haven't done so already, and why haven't you, make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. Give us a thumbs up, and that helps us just, wow. Tony Burt playing spoiler to the 03 of RP Allen, allowing Eugenio to get the run over top of Allen now. As Tony Burt holding his ground, it's not like he's in the way of RP Allen, is now drafting up behind him, holding his own once again, as he's about 4 laps down in the 4 car. Meanwhile, your race leader, Mike Wright, out here logging laps like it's his job, as he last ran a 35.03. His best lap on the night was 33.20. So time definitely starting to fall off here, as his pit strategy going to start to be affected, as he's got 30 laps on these tires and everybody else pretty fresh, as Eugenio Alonso is going to be coming right for him, as Mike Wright's lead has gone from 11 seconds down to 5.34 and closing for Eugenio Alonso. And we can see the biggest gap that that Wright had was about 11 seconds back on 156. Now 157, he had a 9-second lead. So Alonso able to pick up 2 seconds over Mike Wright here as he is getting faster and faster. And we can see that gap getting smaller and smaller between Alonso and Mike Wright as there are now 4.377 seconds between those drivers. Things starting to get even closer as now we're at 3.4 seconds at the stripe. We're going to see this change one more time as it's getting even closer as we move deeper into the race here on lap 164 of 200 at Homestead Miami Speedway. The laps ticking down, only one caution for cause tonight, which is pretty impressive, all things considered. You know, and as I've mentioned so many times, the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series is absolutely one of these leagues that prides themselves on, you know, good driving, on safe driving, because, you know, a lot of times you wind up in one of those situations where you're in a caution fest. Last night in the ISNF Cup Series over on Sim Racing Media, I was calling the race. They had 17 cautions for 68 laps. Let me tell you, there's only so much you can talk about here at Homestead Miami, and we ran out of stuff after about the 5th caution. Of course, one of the other problems that we had run into last night was that the iRacing.com server was completely going cattywampus on us as Mr. Matt Metler and I were calling the race. Mike Wright coming down pit road for service. After 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast, Mike Wright gets back out onto the racetrack. He's now way back in 14th position. That makes Eugenio Alonso once again from Buenos Aires, the Jack Dow Motorsports number 86 Chevrolet Camaro, your race leader. And I got to be honest, folks, Eugenio Alonso is going to be a tough nut to crack here on the racetrack, as he is one of those drivers that will hit his marks every time. And Jack Dow Motorsports, I know, is very proud to have him as a member of their team. Speaking of Jack Dow Motorsports, let's take a look through the field. As John Bawalda III in his Hua Chevrolet Camaro, running back here in 16th as Tony Burt back in 19th. So not a great night for all of Jack Dow Motorsports, but Eugenio Alonso sits atop the pile. Another driver in the JDM stable, Finn Robinson, out here, as well as John Crow in the 95. Finn Robinson in the 26 machine running third. So 2 of these 6 cars from Jack Dow Motorsports running in the top 3 as we are under caution. Let's take a look and see what happened to Tony Bird here as he's getting up behind R.P. Allen just in front of Mike Wright. And it looks like, oh, maybe a little bit of net code. Let's see exactly what might have happened. We'll zoom in here on the 4 car. And we'll take one more look here from that right rear suspension. So that will bring us under caution tonight one more time, as that gives Eugenio Alonso, RP Allen, and Finn Robinson the opportunity to come down pit road and get service one last time with 31 to go, as we are closing in on lap number 200. Now 30 to go at the stripe, as this caution brought to you by Tony Burt, and a little bit of a misstep there, and of course also between a misstep and netcode. Of course, netcode, to let you folks in on the iRacing.com circuit, maybe you've heard the term before on other broadcasts or even this broadcast. Netcode is what the iRacing.com servers use to assume what's going to happen between two cars. If two cars get too close to each other at high speed, sometimes they start throwing off what's called netcode, and it's iRacing guessing what's going to happen next. Sometimes iRacing's right, sometimes they're wrong. This time I'm fairly certain they were right, as Tony was drifting up in front of Mike Wright, but that definitely put him into the wall, and it may very well end his evening. We'll take a look. Tony Burt's still out on track. We're going to take a look here with Mike Wright. Mike Wright, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Copy, Dave.
Hey, man, tough break there with Tony there in the 4-car. What happened from your perspective?
I was at the wall, and the car came across my nose. So I'm sure video shows. I don't think I have to say too much about it.
Well, video shows a little bit of net code. I feel like the net code was probably justified. It looked like he was coming up there either way. But the net code is what actually upset the car, at least what it looked like from here in the broadcast booth. But a rough night for you there, is we haven't seen you up front too much tonight, which is kind of strange.
Yeah, well, the setup, for whatever reason, just can't get off the right front. And I don't know if just cooler temperatures on the track, one groove not getting the rear spinning at all, but the right front's been terrible for the whole race. So we've been throwing some stuff at it. It's gotten some better. So that's, with nothing to lose, that's why I was going for 2 pits on the last run there instead of 1, just to see what would happen. And also so I didn't have to drive a car 50 laps into a run, because it's terrible. So
yeah, trust me, I get it.
We might have been okay. I wasn't going to win the race, but I knew where Brandon was when I pitted, and we were going to kind of compare from there, just curious of what would happen. And unfortunately, netcode or not, netcode's usually where the internet's reading the car movements and kind of guessing where you're going. So obviously iRacing guessed he was coming up to the outside lane, and that's where my car was.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you talk about, track conditions and so on. The air temperature hasn't changed. However, the track temperature has gone down significantly, as you're down to 80 degrees, obviously gripping up the track, but everybody kind of battling a tight car tonight.
Yeah, it's funny, different tracks, how they change up a little bit with track changes. This one's definitely tight, and we just can't seem to get it out of it. But good news is I'm locked in, even with Brandon struggling with the same stuff. He seems to be having a decent night. We played a strategy there so that perhaps maybe if we get another caution here later, we can get the benefit of their tires, and he can run up through the field. So we'll see what happens.
All right, man. Well, listen, good luck tonight the rest of the way, and we'll see what happens for you. And, of course, congratulations for punching your ticket to that championship there in Phoenix in just 2 weeks. So glad to have spent this season with you, and we will see what happens, as it looks like the green flag is flying. Go racing.
It is out. Absolutely.
All kinds of a salad bowl, as everybody jockeying for position here on the restart lap. 174, 27 to go. Oh, the 16, the 53, and we should be back under caution, waiting for the yellow flag to come out, although that it doesn't happen. Let's see what happened here. And we're going to take a look right now here. A little zoom in. We can see maybe another taste of netcode or not. We're going to take a closer look here at the 16 machine. Not sure what happened with Zach Osborne here. Let's see if we can see what happened from the cockpit. The car snapped loose on him, that's for sure. And Osborne tried to recover it. And here we are, still under green on lap 176, 25 to go now. So we're in that final stage. Things starting to heat up on the track as everybody jockeying to get that good position. Right now, the 36 of Brad Gunn doing battle yet again with Andrew Jones. And Andrew Jones holding his own just ahead of Mike Wright, whom we had just spoken to, back here in 12th position, got one of his laps back, or got his lap back, I should say, as we are now lap 177 of 200. Eugenio Alonso, your race leader, holding off RP Allen. They both came down for pit service on lap 170. So this is a battle of the freshies, as it looks like RP Allen just went purple on his timing line for segment 1 here. Of course, purple means that it was the fastest lap or fastest segment. So 16.62 seconds through segment 1 for RP Allen, as he is still chasing down Eugenio Alonso, your race leader, for Jack Dow Motorsports in his Chevrolet Camaro. That 86 machine all season long has been great. And Eugenio brings them across the start-finish line yet again, as we are 21 to the checkered. In 2007, Ray Regal had a vision of serving his fellow firefighters' breathing air needs better. As a City of Reading firefighter since 1975, he knows the difficulties of finding the best and most affordable service company to care for and manage the most important means of survival firefighters have: breathing air. Northeastern Fire and Air is committed to providing our brothers and sisters with the best service in the industry and at an affordable cost. For more information, call 610-207-6608 for a consultation today, and know that you can breathe easy with Northeastern Fire and Air.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt kicker. The future is feeling.
There's a new approach to lawn care, Preen One Lawn Care. Preen One does away with the hassle of multiple bags of different products. It has everything you need for a beautiful lawn in one bag. And all it takes is one application. For season-long weed control and feeding, apply the granules when the lawn is wet and weeds are actively growing. It blocks crabgrass all season. It prevents crabgrass seeds from growing. It kills the seedlings too, even when applied 4 weeks after they sprout. It's your best defense against tough weeds like dandelion, chickweed, henbit, and hundreds more. Plus, its slow-release formula feeds the lawn evenly for months to build stronger roots for maximum heat and drought resistance. Preen One delivers convenience and better performance in one package with one application. Spend more time enjoying your lawn and less time working on it. Preen One, and it's done. It's a lawn dream come true.
Here we are back at Homestead, Miami Speedway. Dave Regal on the Independence Racing Network, bringing you all of the action from flag to flag here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, live on YouTube.com. Folks, we have 11 laps to go, and Eugenio Alonso is your race leader with a 1-second lead over teammate Finn Robinson in the number 26. Eugenio looking to punch his ticket to the championship 4 here in the MNN Xfinity Series playoffs. Finn Robinson running in P2. R.P. Allen back in third. He's got his way onto the podium tonight. John Crow Jr., also of Jackdown Motorsports fame. Currently, no, I lie. John Crow Sr. not on Jackdown Motorsports, fighting his way up through the field in fourth position right now. You're watching the Independence Racing Network. Nine to go with Eugenio Alonso atop the pile. Things starting to settle out once again here, as right now the closest battle on the racetrack is between Jeff Carson and Brandon Minto. Brandon Minto trailing Carson by about 0.4 of a second. Zach Vaughn also trailing Zach Vaughn also leading Mike Wright by about 0.4 of a second. Your points leader, Mike Wright, we had just spoken to during the last caution. He's pretty much decided that he knows that he doesn't have a winning car tonight, as he's usually so dominant on these tracks week in and week out. But battling a tight condition tonight in the 98 Ford Mustang. So might be one of the few nights this season that we don't get to talk to him post-race from the podium. But R.P. Allen definitely has battled his way up here in the 03 Yahoo Toyota Supra, also sponsored proudly by Money House Racing, as the Money House guys usually very dominant here as well. The 1110 Mods cars trying to make themselves known, but right now everybody battling a tight race car tonight. It just seems like Eugenio Alonso is handling it better than everybody else with 7 to go. Four to go now, as Eugenio Alonso still leads this piece with next to no challenge from Finn Robinson and R.P. Allen, as everybody has pretty much strung themselves out tonight. And John Crow Sr. trying to get in on the dance, but just doesn't have enough to get there. His best run of the season so far since he's come into the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. Of course, the Xfinity Series, just part of the SNN family of racing here on iRacing.com. Of course, Sunday night, the Davis Brothers Roofing SNN Cup Series is available over on Sim Racing Media every Sunday night. You can check us out at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sim Racing Media. A great broadcast over there. This week was a little bit sideways, as the regular play-by-play man and producer, Mr. James Riles, was down here in Homestead, Miami. So can't wait to hear back from him and how that trip went for the Sim Racing Media crew. Meanwhile, then on a Tuesday night, the Tuesday Night Thunder Trucks, the TNN Truck Series, brought to you over by the Performance Motor Network. Also a 9 p.m. start, so a little bit later, but you got to remember that the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series both run 100% length races, and tonight 200 laps seems like a lot. It certainly is, whether you're in the car or in the broadcast booth. As Eugenio Alonso comes through turn 3, popsicle sticks in the air, getting ready to go back down and let that white flag fly, as Eugenio rolls out of turn number 4 onto the front stretch, crosses the start-finish line. The white flag is in the air, and we are racing back to checkers. Eugenio Alonso has been a dominant force all night here on the iRacing.com server in the Xfinity Series. The MNN family, or the MNN Series, has been fantastic all season long. Finn Robinson running in P2 with R.P. Allen rounding out the podium so far. One more time, barring any catastrophe, Eugenio Alonso brings us back through the 3-4 complex, rolls out of turn 4. He sees a lap car in front of him. That's not going to be a problem. He crosses the start-finish line, and Eugenio Alonso wins the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series race here at Homestead, Miami. Eugenio Alonso, Finn Robinson, and RP Allen making it to the podium tonight. RP Allen already taking it down to put it on the hauler as he quickly gets out of Dodge. And here we are watching Eugenio Alonso celebrate on the start-finish line. And right now, our race winner, Eugenio Alonso, here in the broadcast booth. Dave Regal, Eugenio Alonso, you got a copy, brother?
Hey, Dave, I copy.
Hey, man, listen, great run tonight for the 86 Jack Dow Motorsports machine. How are you feeling after this win?
I'm feeling really good. The car was amazing all race. I get the spot in the final. That was our primary goal. I'm very happy with this.
As you should be. I mean, listen, this car tonight was just dialed in. Everybody else battling a tight race car, and you somehow were able to overcome those odds and, wind up here in victory lane with your teammate Finn Robinson in P2 and, RP in third. I mean, what are you thinking as we get ready to go to Martinsville next week?
Miami really like me. Tires died very fast. It's good for me, for my style of drive. And next race, is hard, but I fast there. But I need to survive.
Yeah, Martinsville is definitely a survival track, as we've seen so many times before. You put that absolutely perfectly. And as we look forward to next week, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Well, I thank to my team, Jack Dowell Motorsport, the guys. He do a really good work tonight. And to my setup shop, Reaper Speed Lab, they give me a fast car here, and all weeks they give me the better setup. This week especially, but don't. He give me the setup and he teach me how I need to use it. This make the difference this week.
Yeah, the Reaper setup definitely made the difference for you, sir. So congratulations, and why don't you go celebrate with your teammates as I get ready to pull up Finn Robinson. Congratulations, brother.
Thanks, man. See you next week, I hope.
That was Eugenio Alonso, our race winner. That brings up Mr. Finn Robinson, driver of the number 26 Chevrolet Camaro. Finn Robinson, Dave Regal, you got a copy, brother?
Yes, I do.
Listen, you did Shropshire very well tonight and brought them some pride in the 26. I mean, the Jack Dow Motorsports team, 2 out of 3 spots here on the podium. How is that car feeling tonight?
Absolutely unreal. I mean, huge shout out to Eugenio for working with me there, because this was actually the first I'd ran of Homestead in the Xfinity car. I'd spent the rest of the week with the truck, so I sort of came in here a bit worried, qualified 11th, and with a bit of help from Eugenio and a bit of teamwork, we really managed to get that tyre saving working, and I managed to cut my way through the field pretty good there on them long runs, and it was pretty much plain sailing from there. We just didn't need another caution, that was for sure.
Yeah, listen, it's always when those late cautions come out that things turn into kind of a salad bowl and they get tossed around. And you managed to come out on the top of the salad tonight, here in P2 on the podium. So before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for tonight's run?
Huge shout out to Nitro for the awesome setups. They provide great services for our whole team here. They work really hard on them, and it just goes to show that they are race winning setups. I'd like to shout out Jack Dow Motorsports, the whole team, every driver, John. We all work pretty hard in practice. to get these results, and the teamwork is just unmatched, I think. And a huge shout out to Shebden Crane Hire as well, my dad's business, really helping me with my sim racing and helping me get started. I really appreciate it. And huge shout out actually to the whole Monday Night NASCAR and Sunday Night NASCAR community, the admins. They all do an awesome job, and we really appreciate their effort that they put in to put on these awesome shows.
Yeah, absolutely. The MNN and SNN family of racing has been some of the best on iRacing.com, and I'm proud to be a part of it here on the Independence Racing Network. It's just been an absolute joy to watch you guys go at it tonight. So congratulations, and we will see you next week at Martinsville Speedway, going a little short track racing.
And not my strongest suit, so we'll see how we get on in practice, and we'll make a decision on whether to run or not.
All right, brother. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was Finn Robinson, driver of the number 26 Jack Dow Motorsports Chevrolet. That will bring up the man, the myth, the legend, R.P. Allen, driver of the 03 Yahoo.com Toyota Supra. R.P. Allen, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, look at you up here on the podium yet again. I mean, every week it seems like you're at least fighting for a podium spot, and you did not disappoint this week here at Miami.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to win that championship, but I had nothing for Alonso today. His long-run car was just too good, but I had a good fight. I was able to have some good battles with them in at least the short run, and, it just ended up being too long of runs for me to have a chance, but I'm pretty happy with the third-place car.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you highlight the long-run car that Alonso had tonight. I mean, it's almost like here, at least at the Xfinity level, I mean, the Cup Series is a little bit different. But the Xfinity Series, there are a lot of green flag runs. I mean, in the Cup Series, I find myself, maybe doing a couple of green flag pit stop practice runs. But most of the time, we're able to pit under caution. But here in the Xfinity Series, we have a lot of green flag runs. How does that feel, compared to the Xfinity Series or to the Cup Series?
Yeah, there's a reason why I race down here. It's so much more fun because we have clean racers like Alonso, Mike Wright, and even Finn. Finn's getting a lot faster, and it's a lot more controlled and a lot more skill-based than just getting a good setup and being able to run in the front because, you survive the battle royale, and so that's what I really like about the Xfinity Series here because you can it really helps you practice like saving tires, making sure that you conserve your runs, you make sure that you do a green flag pit stop right, and so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Fun is definitely the way that I would describe this particular level of racing. And, from my experience last year in all three divisions, the Xfinity Series was definitely the most fun, that I had. And, it has developed into such an exciting racing series. I mean, that's how we're able to attract the eyes of, folks like Ricky Carmichael and others, especially some of the great sponsors that we brought on, RS Button Boxes and Butt Kicker. But before we cut you loose tonight, who do you need to thank sponsor-wise and otherwise out here on the racetrack?
Well, Money House Racing has helped me a lot, and so it's been fun running with them this season, just having a good time. I'm not really out here to take it too seriously. I'm really out here to have fun and hang out with some good race car, sim racers. So, that's about it.
All right, brother man. Well, listen, we will see you next week as we're getting ready to go short track racing as we inch closer and closer to championship weekend there in Phoenix.
Yeah, wish me luck. I'm not very confident about my short track skills, but we'll see what happens.
Trust me, I absolutely get it. But, short tracks are more of a survival. How much car do you have left by the time stage 3 begins? So good luck, and I'm sure that we'll see you practicing all week long, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, man, I'll see you there.
That was R.P. Allen, driver of the 03 Toyota Supra, sponsored by Yahoo.com. And, here we are yet again with another race in the books in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. We'll take a look here at the final results before we head home tonight. Eugenio Alonso, Finn Robinson, and R.P. Allen all on the podium tonight. A couple of international drivers there in P1 and P2 from Jack Dow Motorsports in Eugenio from Buenos Aires, and of course Finn Robinson from the United Kingdom. RP Allen, of course, a native American, well, not a native American, but a native of here in the United States. John Crow Sr. comes home fourth, Brad Gunn fifth, Matthew Helm, Zachary Vaughn, Mike Wright, Jeff Carson, and Brandon Minto all round out your top 10 with Joshua Coppernell in the 42 JCTV Toyota Supra with Andrew T. Jones, Ian Humphreys, Zach Osborne, Aaron Mack, Chris Claude, John Bawalda, Michael Astuto, Tony Burt, and Ricky Carmichael rounding out the top 20. Bennett Allen, Corey Burkett, Chad Sanner, Lauren Jones, Matt White, and Alexander Gangler round out the rest of the field here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series. And folks, it's really exciting when I look at these standings from tonight and I can see two international drivers, a domestic driver, atop the pile. It's such a unique league where we've gone international, and we're glad to have all of you with us here on youtube.com, keeping things entertaining. And make sure that if you haven't done so yet, and I don't know how you haven't, as we're just a few weeks away from the end of the season, to make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications, give the thumbs up, and support your friends and family out here on the racetrack as they put on one heck of a show every week. So for myself, Dave Regal here, and everybody at the Independence Racing Network and the entire team here in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, I'm here to say good night, good luck, and thank you for making us a part of your evening. Good night, everybody.